to another episode of the Wealth Twins podcast. Today we're talking about how mentors changed our lives and also made us wealthy. And with that, Nadia, I think we should get right into it because I think this is something people really need to know. So, Nadia, how do you think mentors have changed your life and helped make you wealthy?
Well, when I think about this, I think more about mentors who created moments for me to be able to change my life. Now, when I say moments, it's because if I look at the biggest changes I have in my life, they weren't from someone who actually was assigned to me as a mentor. We had like a mentor relationship. It was more of someone who created an opportunity in a moment that made a shift in me that allowed me to change my mindset or gave me an opportunity to take advantage of. And one example would be I had a coworker on my desk. Now, by no means I would consider him a mentor at all. I actually did not favor him that much. But he had said one thing that really created a moment in my mind and created a mind shift. And that was, he said, you know what? The ideal age is to retire at 40. At the age of 40, you have probably been working for 20 years, saying you got your first real job by 2021. And then when you are hit 40, you still have enough time to enjoy life. Like you're still young enough to travel, be able to move around easily, and you should have enough money to make sure that you actually are enjoying the fruits of your labor. And that really stuck with me. So I didn't pay attention to a lot that he said, but I said, you know what? I didn't have that goal in my mind before, but this is something I could try to shoot for. And I actually didn't realize how much of an impact that had on me until later on. I was able to retire at the age of 35, 36. And when I look back at it, I really think that moment is what put that number in my head to shoot for. I hit before 40, but that idea didn't even exist to me before that moment happened. So, not necessarily a mentor, but a person who created a moment that shifted my mentality.
Now, you bring up an interesting point. We never really defined what a mentor was, and I think this would be a good thing to do right now. For me, a mentor is not just someone that you like, right? There's different ways someone could be a mentor. A mentor to me is someone that can save you time, help you avoid mistakes, and just help you out in terms of giving you information that you might not be aware of and helping you get access to different information, actually different opportunities, like you said. So I think if you come with that definition, anybody can be a mentor if they can point you in the right direction or stop you when you're in the wrong direction, okay? Or teach you even by their actions that you're going down the wrong direction.
I
Now,
agree.
when it comes to me, I would say there's three types of mentors I would like to basically talk about how they really affected my money, since this is one about wealth. I have people who have come into my life. One person helped you and I understand the value of going to Columbian University, which we did, but he helped point us in that path and said, go to Columbian University. And I think that really set us up for success because that put us around a lot of people who were wealthy and had a different mindset when it came to money. Now, another type of mentor would be someone who, when we got to Goldman, there were two particular mentors I had there that actually took the time out of their day to help me and put me on the right path very early on when it came to how to invest money and how to save money. And those two mentors would be Pearl, my coworker, and also one of my managers named Joe. Now, when it came to Pearl, she actually gave me my first piece of money advice about Nicole. Every time you make $1, you need to save at least 10 cents. Basically, she was saying, Nicole, live below your means. But her just making it that simple and easy to understand, I said, there's no way I can't save 10 cents out of every dollar. And saving that early allowed me to take advantage of opportunities when it came to investing. Now, when it came to my manager, Joe, he's the one that told me about compounding and how if you put your money in the market and allow the market to actually work for you and you do it for enough time, compounding, which means making money on your money in terms of interest and helping that money grow, could be something that can easily build your wealth much faster and almost exponentially. So I think those two people really affected my money mindset and showed me at a young age what can be done with just a little bit of the right information when it came to building wealth.
I would agree with that. And if you're looking at it, I guess one of my mentors at Goldman was my old manager Neil, and I call him Father Time. That was my guy, and I think the thing that I think about when I think about Neil as a mentor, I was straight out of college, coming into an investment bank, and I was really rough around the edges. Like, you're getting New York City, South Jamaica, went to Colombia, but still, it was still rough around the edges. So if
Well, you
someone
gonna
talked
take
to me,
out the earrings if you had to?
no, I never took out earrings, but I was like, if you talk to me a certain way, it's going to be a certain confrontation. And what thing I respected about Neil is that even though I was the youngest person in my group, Neil always respected my opinion. And Neil always had my back too. And he always took me to the side. He would explain different concepts to me. He would speak to me. We would have meetings and stuff. And he was a mentor for me because I needed that guidance when I first got into the investment banking world, because he had a lot more experience. He was probably one of the smartest people I ever met. And he saw that potential in me. And I think that's important, especially when you are new to an environment, if you have somebody who sees your potential, because that helps you gain more confidence in that new environment and helps you really put your best foot forward and actually are confident about the skills and the natural abilities you have. And it allows you to build your wealth quicker because now you have confidence in yourself. You're able to build on skills. You're able to take advantage of any promotions that you may get or take a risk because you're believing in yourself. And I think having a mentor in that space is something that works well for a lot of people. And I think when people think about mentors is a lot of times you might have a person who says they want to be your mentor just to put something on their resume. But I think that is somebody who's doing a disservice to a person. If you're really a mentor, you're trying to look to help a person get up, but you're not necessarily trying to do everything for them. You're just trying to create opportunities for them to see if they take advantage of it. And you're trying to see, here's areas they can improve upon. I think that's what most mentors do. But I think a lot of people don't suffer from mentors, but they probably suffer from the right mentor who's actually trying to help them grow.
Yeah, I think what you brought up, and I'm going to elaborate more on it, is mentors don't do things for you. Okay. No one can do anything for you because if someone has to really pull and really force you to do something, it's going to be exhausting for them. And they're not going to be able to push you where you need to go because, like they say, what's the old saying, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink, right? So that person that's leading you to the water is your mentor. Mentors provide guidance, like Nadia said. Mentors provide information and mentors provide opportunities. That's what you should be looking for from a mentor. But when it comes to what you need to do to actually execute the information, also get the value out of that mentor, you have to do the work. They're going to show you what the work is that needs to be done, but you have to be the one that does the work. And if you have a mentor that's willing to show you the ropes, but you're not willing to do the work, then you have a wasted opportunity and you're not understanding the value, especially when these mentors can make you wealthy. We talked about mentors that we had in our lives that came into it out of their own, goodwill and actually set us aside to help us out and give us guidance, information, and also opportunities. But because you and I both know how valuable it is to have those three things, we continue to seek out mentors. And that's even if we have to pay for mentors, right? You and I both still pay because that access to information, guidance, and opportunity, once you get to a certain point or you get older, people aren't going to look to actually, help you
Help
out
you out.
all the
I
time.
agree.
People like to help out babies and stuff, but if you know right from wrong or you're trying to get to a different level when you actually pass the mentors that you had, if you got to get to a different level, then you may have to pay for the information because not only do they give you the opportunity, they give you access to a broader world of opportunities, a broader world of information, a broader world of guidance, but they understand that you have to show or gives that you got to show that commitment. And sometimes the way to show that commitment is by paying for that information and stuff.
I will also add to that, if you are looking for a mentor, say in developing your own money, say getting into opportunities that will help you grow either financially or mentally or physically, when you pay for that, it helps bring you to a new level because it helps speed up the process. A lot of the
Hmm.
stuff that we I guess, as humans can do, a lot of the stuff you can do if you just put your time behind it. But if you want to speed up the process, you're going to have to pay for that because you're paying for the skill set that someone had put years in behind. And they're saying, you know what, I can share this with you, but you have to compensate them too because they're shortening that time frame for you. And I think that's something that you should pay up for because the time you're spending actually not doing that, you're eating away a ton of opportunity because you're losing out on time. Once you surpass the people who are going to come to you naturally, you need to start paying for it and getting the speed.
Yeah, we both know, and the more we learn about life, time is more valuable than money. And all we're trying to do to get to every next level, no matter what it is, we're trying to cut that time because it also it helps us cut down the ignorance tax. This is what Alex Hormozy calls it, the ignorance tax. What you don't know is costing you so much more. Okay, so the quicker you can pay down that tax, the quicker you can get to the next level and save on time. Okay, because that's how the biggest players in this game do it. Not even in the game of life, right? When you go to boxers, they have the coaches. When you go to the best athletes in terms of going to the gym, they have coaches. And not only that, do they cut down your time, they also give you accountability.
I agree. And when you put your money down, it makes it a lot more of a commitment for you and you're more accountable to it. But going back to the people who helped you build your wealth, when's another moment that you think it was a person who helped change your trajectory from going to one level to the next level? I can say for one, I had a coworker. I was on a project at a time, and I had a coworker say to me, he's like, you know what? I think they were doing around the layoffs. He's like, I'm not worried. Based on the amount of money I make, and I grew up I think he grew up kind of poor. He was like middle class poor. He said, I can live off half of what I'm making right now and I'll still be good. That was another mind shift that I had. I said, you know what? That's true. Like Nicole and I didn't grow up with a lot of money at all. My mother took care of the three of us with making less than $30,000 a year, right? And this is in New York City. So I said to myself, you know what? If I make half of what I'm making, I'll still be okay. And it will be a lot easier for me to find a job. And that is what gave me the courage to be able to say, you know, I'm going to take a chance on myself and leave the corporate world. And if it doesn't work out for me, I can always go back because I know somebody's going to be willing to pay me at least half of what I'm making and I'll still be okay. That leap that I took to start trusting myself is something that helped me grow financially also and become wealthy.
I think what you're going with now is mindset. And when I think of mindset, I know this might sound corny, but the one of the biggest things that had a big impact on my life is going to a Tony Robbins event. He had one in New Jersey, right? And it was one of those 4-day events. And it really is all about mindset. And one of the things he did was have us go through an activity where he said, imagine where you're going to be in 5 years. Where do you want to be? And he said, if you want to be there, there's things that you have to do. And how that person told you you can live off a certain amount, having that time set aside and really thinking about what I need to do to change my mindset to get to where I wanted to be, that made a big difference for me. Okay, because money mindset or just mindset in general, especially when it comes to money, you have to have the right mindset because all the things you got to do, they might be easy, they might be simple, I should say, but they're not easy, right? So you have to have the right mindset and understand how you can think about these little changes that you can make now that are going to affect you in the future. All those are things that will help you become wealthy. Because Tony Robbins, if people don't know, he used to be a janitor, and now he's I would say, a multi millionaire who has, I think he runs over 100 companies now, and it's like his life is just like fantastic from the outside. I guess I don't know how it is from the inside, but he says he built himself and it's all based on mindset. So when I think about that and I just try to use my mindset anytime I think things are going to get difficult, I try to use that mindset to always push me to the next level. And I do that exercise quite often.
I agree. If you're looking at, if I go back to mentors who have helped make me wealthy, I would say, I say I can't leave out my big guy, Michael. I would say he helps make me think bigger and put me in a lot of uncomfortable positions that force me to grow very quickly. And that helped me push myself into becoming an entrepreneur. And I think becoming an entrepreneur is one of the fastest ways you can grow your wealth. Because one thing, if you have an idea, you could put that into practice right away and you'll see if it's working or not, right? I used to do this when I owned a cafe and everything. Anytime I came up with a business idea, I will see if it actually made money or it didn't make money within the same day that I actually put it out there, right? Also, when you're an entrepreneur, it forces you to use your own skill sets, but also leverage others and figure out, you know what, I'm strong here, I may be weak here, and you fill in those gaps. And it forces you to make sure you think bigger because you never know what that next challenge is, and you don't have the safety net of a company that's going to pay you on a bi-weekly basis. So you're always on your toes, forced to think bigger and take chances on yourself that if they work out right, they actually can exponentially grow your wealth. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you just reminded me of one of my old bosses, Matthew, when I was working at a startup. When you're at a startup, you gotta be the one that thinks and be uncomfortable
Yeah, they
all the
call it
time.
being
So
being a proactive worker,
yeah, so like it's
or you're a
like
self-starter.
yeah, those sales are, but that is really true when you're in a startup. No one's gonna give you directions,
It's
and if
called, we
you're
don't know
not,
what you're gonna do. All hands on deck. Figure it out. We gotta make some money right now.
yeah, and I'm telling you, you will be uncomfortable. But I think that's one of the biggest things that have continued to help me, being able to think and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. I know that sounds pretty like cliche or whatever, but that is what life is about. If you are too comfortable, then you are fine with where you are, okay? But if you want to become wealthy, every person I know that is wealthy is comfortable with being uncomfortable, and they put themselves in those situations that make them uncomfortable. And I can tell you, it's not fun, but if you don't do it, you're not going to grow. That's the only way you're going to grow and make the easier things, the hard things actually easy, is by throwing yourself in those situations. And with that, Matthew, he became a partner so quickly, and he was actually an immigrant to this country, and he was just pushing himself, and he's only 2 years older than me, and I just couldn't believe it. And he was like, Nicole, just do it. Nicole, just do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what's going on here. But man, did that push me and make me understand, like, okay, yes, I am able to do the hard things, and I'm able to think. If you are a competent person, if you know that you're smart, then you have to use your brains, and you need those mentors that are going to force you to take a bet on yourself and use your brains. You know, just this morning, actually, I have young children, right? And I have some preteens. And I was telling one of my children today, she was asking me, oh, mom, should I do this, and that, and this? And I was like, listen, I already gave you some instructions. Now it's your turn to think. I said, my job is not to tell you what to do in terms of step by step by step. My job is to get you to think and be there to help guide you, but you have to think. And that's one of the things I can give my children as a parent. That's one of the things I'm definitely trying to get them to have before they leave the house. They have to think and they have to make moves and think for themselves. And I think that's a big thing that mentors help you do. The best mentors, I would say, help you do.
Yeah, I think now if we're thinking about mentors, I think we will be remiss if we leave out Mr. Carradine. And I say this like he wasn't the nicest coach. He was our basketball coach in high school. He wasn't the nicest one, but the thing that he helped us do was develop a thick skin, right? He would talk to us crazy, the whole team, right? And it was only 5 of us starting, and we probably played the whole 40 minutes. And we would have other teams who would play against us and like, yo, your coach is crazy. I'm like, you know what? I know, but the lesson that we learned from him is one, you got to work hard. Two, it didn't matter what hand you were dealt with. You play with the hand that you are dealt and you make it work for you. We were a much shorter team. Nicole and I were the tallest people on the team. We're about 5'6", 5'6.5". And we played forward and center. But you know what? We won almost all the games. We went into like the city championships. And it was mainly because we were like, you know, we don't have height on our side, but we're quick, we're smart, and we're willing to work hard. And he made us drill. He forced us to believe in ourselves, but he also forced you to be accountable. And he yelled a lot, but that stopped us from being sensitive when you know someone is not focus on the message and not the way the person's delivering it. And that is something I think helped me become wealthy, because a lot of the times you might sabotage yourself if you focus on, oh, this person's mean, or this person's not doing it right, or the way they talk to me. You might be missing out on money making opportunities or things to get you wealthy because your feelings got hurt or your emotions got involved. And that is something I think learning early on. Doesn't matter how the person says it to you sometimes, but take what the message is and move forward with that. And I think it also helps us on YouTube, because you guys can't hurt my feelings in the comments. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Wait, but okay, I want to clear up some things. One, we were the tallest starters on the team. There was some girls that were taller than us, but we were the tallest
Oh, okay.
starters. Two, we made it to the semifinals. Okay, we didn't
It
make
was
it to
the
the finals in New
no,
York
it was
City.
the finals. It was.
That was the semifinals. The finals were in Madison Square Garden. But yes, Mr. Carradine, I would say a couple of things that he did show us. One was discipline. We were out there running drills over and over and over again, kind of like, the Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi, but it was for a purpose, right? He also showed passion. That man had passion. And even though it came out, this is in the 80s, 90s, it's not really politically correct to do this anymore, but he showed passion with the way he spoke. So I will not, judge him for that. But three, I still remember the quote he used to have us say that was on the wall: expect nothing, blame no one, do something. That's what he said, right? And that really was an accountability quote. And that if you were to put your mind to it and understood that you had the power to do it, that you could get what you wanted, right? And those things I will not forget. And yes, those are the things that we have to keep taking with us, because there's so many people that believe they should just be wealthy. And guess what? It's not going to happen. And some people that believe you're broke because of some outside force that you can't overcome. And those reasons, I don't believe anybody, maybe a very small minority of people, but if you're in America, you're already wealthier than more than half this world, and you have the opportunities that you have only in America, right? To be the best that you can be. So you cannot leave the excuses that it's somebody else that's holding you back from being the best that you can be. And when you get that attitude and you understand that you have to expect nothing, blame no one, and do something, there's nothing that really can stop you. So it's only you to stop you. And that mentor is one that definitely told us that. So I definitely agree. Yeah. So, but when you're talking about, I want to say too, when it came to basketball and sports, I think being on a team was having mentors as well. And I think even though we don't play sports anymore, we have our
I
team.
I
And
play
these
sport. BJJ is a
are,
sport.
yeah, okay. Anyway, the point is that team aspect, right? And you and I have what I call our little mastermind group. We have a team that's built with some of our friends who are in totally different worlds from us, but all keep striving to be better than they were
And
the
they
day
are
before.
mentors. If you want to say that, they are mentors.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that team is another form of mentors. Okay, that team is another form of mentors. And I think right there, like if we don't have if we don't understand something, or we have a question that we can't talk to someone about, we can count on those people to give us the real advice that we need, even if it's going to be tough love or not. But these guys are still on their own, making moves and striving for greatness, that we keep them in our corner because we're mentors to them and they're mentors to us. And I think that's one of the ways that we're going to continue to grow. You have to put yourself and find friends that are going to help you do that.
That goes back to the people that you have around you, right? If you're the smartest person in your group, find another group. So, and we know that helps you increase your wealth, because it's just that the lowest person in your group, that's probably where everybody's wealth is going to stay, right? But if everybody's working to get their money up, as a whole, you're all going to grow. So make sure you're in the right spaces with the right people, and that way you can grow not only financially but also mentally too, and you can also grow physically. Well, not physically, but you understand. But if I'm looking at other mentors, I would say when we think about real estate, I would say the books that I had used, like Carlton Sheets or Robert Kiyosaki, those were mentors at first. But then I had a friend who was a mentor, became a friend, is Maurice, and he helped me look at multifamilies, understand the real estate game, understand what to look at. And when I was looking at a lot of multifamilies, some of these places were scary to walk into, because I was thinking about buying stuff that needed a lot of work, and you didn't know if they were abandoned sometimes. they were scary. So I will say he also was a person who wasn't scared to walk in these buildings with me at the time. So I would say Maurice was also a mentor too. And with real estate, that was one of the things that quickly jump started my growth in order to become financially independent.
I mean, again, you're going back to using someone else's experience and guidance to help you shortcut the process and actually get to where you needed to go quicker. That's really going back to that mentorship. But I want to go back to the asset, like the idea of community as well. I know we talked about community before in one of our other episodes, and someone wrote, "Well, how do I find this community?" Well, you find it by actually actively searching it out. And social media and different websites like meetup.com, things like that. But you're also finding, like with us, we have a community, right? It's called the Wealth Pack, and we bring people in that have the same mindset and give them the opportunity to be around people who are going to be on the same page as them and help them get up as well. So when someone says they don't have the opportunity, they don't know how to find a community, you have to choose what you're putting on your feed, right? You can either do this whole doom scroll, or you can find people like us on YouTube and other platforms that have a community that's willing to accept you and willing to help yourself make better. Again, this is about being accountable and about seeking out the information and the mentors that can help you with that.
I'd say the same thing. And my thing is, just because you don't have the resources, you have to be resourceful. And I know people say networking. I'm one of those people, I don't like to network at all. I'm actually pretty introverted when it comes to the two of us. I'm probably the more introvert one. But you have to put yourself in those positions to meet people, speak to them. You never know who is doing what, or you can learn from them. So I don't say just meet people for the sake of trying to use them or anything like that. Not at all. What I'm saying is open yourself up to meeting new people, and they will help you grow in different ways. Now, it may not just be financially, but they may put you in a position to learn something that you never even knew about, that you actually have a natural born skill to do, that you could potentially make money from.
Now, if I was to sum this whole thing up, when it came to mentors and how they made us wealthy, I want to say it's probably going to be, I wrote this down, 5 things, right? It would be mentors helped us with inspiration, mentors helped us with growth, mentors helped us with guidance, mentors helped us with opportunity, and mentors helped us with mindset. Those 5 things are what led us to be wealthy, and those 5 things are how you can use mentors to make you wealthy too. Do you agree, Nadia?
I would agree. And before we end this video, I wanted to dedicate this to Mr. K. He's a person that helped guide us to Colombia. He believed in us and he was probably one of the best men I've ever known in my life. So rest in peace to Mr. K. Our condolences to his family. And like I said, thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.